Good morning. How are you?
I'm playing with light filters.
Are you playing? Oh, what light filters?
I have a.
Oh, I have a big giant. I have like the original ring light, and
Yeah.
it's gigantic. How much was that little one? It was only like $30, right? My ex-husband told me to get one.
Yeah, this little one was pretty cheap, and it plugs into my USB. We also have one of the giant ring tripod ones that sits the phone in the middle, plus the ring around, which I've been using for. I've become such a disc golf nerd. I've been using it to film myself driving on disc golf, so I can send people in forums and get.
Yeah. Do you have your microphone covered up? Are you covering up your microphone?
Oh, you know what? How's that? Is that a little better?
Yeah, you're going like in and out. Yeah.
Is this better?
Oh yeah.
Can I tell you why?
Why?
I need a haircut today. And even though I've combed my hair this morning, it's getting to that stage where no matter what I do, if I put any sort of headphones on or anything, it all gets crazy. So I left my headphones on over my earbuds or my AirPods because I didn't want my messy hair to look like it was just messy. I wanted it to look like it was for the headphones. And so the headphones were to disguise the messy hair that I can't get under control this morning, but I didn't realize it was covering up the microphone.
Oh yeah. I was like, I can't hear you. It's going in. Okay, I have a little coffee hack. Because I'm drinking coffee now, you know. But I have a little coffee hack that I found. So if you are like, I'm not a nutritionist or fitness professional or anything, but I would put people who are low carb would put like heavy cream and fake sugar in it, or you could do cream and sugar. But what I've been doing instead is putting like some of this.
Oh, smart.
Into my, so I do the black coffee, and then I either, if I just want it to taste like coffee, this has caffeine in it too, so be careful. Or if you want to do like the chocolate, you can do like a mocha. Instead of using cream and sugar, you use the protein mix and you put it in there, and it tastes so good.
Yeah, that's a really smart idea. That's a really smart
So then
idea.
you get your protein shake with your black coffee in the morning.
It's so I laid off the coffee a little bit. I've kind of gone back on the coffee a little bit more, but what I've done is I've started making half calf instead. So I buy decaf and I buy regular and I blend the two together. So I've got a giant thing of coffee, but it's like half unleaded.
Yeah, I didn't realize that this had caffeine in it until this morning. So now I'm like, oh, cool. I'm putting caffeine in my caffeine.
But especially in this last week, I've started doing more fitness oriented stuff. Like I've been doing a lot more of my TRX straps, which has been awesome. And so I've been trying to get my protein as well. And so I've been doing a lot of smoothies with protein shakes. But I love that idea because I love coffee. I love coffee. How much protein is in that though? 30 grams of protein per
30
serving?
grams of protein and only 1 gram of sugar. So if you are a carb counter, there's 5 carbs, but 2 fiber, so only 3 net carbs. But total sugar is only 1, and protein is 30 grams. Again, I am not a fitness professional, and there's probably stuff in here that some people don't want to drink. But I love them, and my son loves, he can't see what it is. What is that? It's Premier Protein, and I get them at Walmart. This one's chocolate. And then this one is cafe latte. And it also has caffeine in it. And then I get my son the Oreo one. My son drinks the Oreo one when he comes home from school.
Okay. I've been hearing a lot of people talk a lot lately about because everyone has different fitness goals. Like right now, so I'm in a spot right now because you and I are on two different paths at the moment. I'm at a spot right now where like I need to stop and I need to start putting some back on. And I've been hearing a lot about something called Arbonne.
Yeah.
And I've been hearing a lot about I've been hearing a lot about the supplementing shakes and going high protein like that and cutting other stuff out.
Yeah. Well, I'm not usually a shakes person in the place of food because I like real food.
Yeah, I know. Me
too.
But
I mean,
like with smoothies, did you ever do smoothies? Did you ever switch to smoothies and try and do like a couple smoothies a day? Because I've been trying the last couple of months and I start losing track about whether or not I had one or I get bored. I don't want to make one, you know? So instead I'll make like 7 pizza rolls.
Yeah, see, I'm not a fitness professional, but smoothies with a bunch of fruits and stuff in it to me just seems like a lot of sugar you're drinking.
A lot of sugar, right? That's what I've always been thinking. A lot of sugar. Like they haven't really.
You know what's really good during cherry season? I would do cocoa powder with some protein powder and cherries and make like a chocolate cherry shake. And you put spinach in it, and you can't even taste the spinach. It's really good.
Okay. Okay.
And it'll clear you out.
Yeah, shakes are good for work if you're on the go. They
Yeah.
really are. Okay, so here's what I've learned about, because I don't have like a recipe for smoothies. I don't know if anybody does. Like I just always imagine you just throw all the crap in there and then you hit blend, right? We've got the Ninja, so I hit ultra blend and 60 seconds later, I've got a smoothie. But I don't like okay, and here's what really makes me upset about chefs. Like chefs can be like, I need a tablespoon of olive oil. And then they just take the bottle and like, whoop, well, that's a tablespoon. And they eyeball it, right? And they get it right 100% of the time. That guy, Keith Breedlove, every time he comes like,
Professional chefs, just like you can hit the post on a song. I bet a
yeah.
chef can come in and hit a post on the song.
So I'm in my kitchen trying to be all fancy like a chef making smoothies. And I'm like, wham, fruit, wham, yogurt, wham, whatever water I'm going to put in. I'm not measuring any of it. And then I hit blend, and then I go take a drink. And it's so thick in consistency that the entire smoothie just goes wham on my face because it all comes down at one time.
Or you make enough for like 4 shakes?
Me? I probably do.
No, that's what I would do. I'm like, why? There's just so much here.
Yeah, I know. And then you feel obligated. And then sometimes I'll bust out a spoon and try and pretend like it's ice cream, but then the consistency is a little off.
Yeah.
But I feel like smoothies are kind of our silent enemy and we don't even know it. Like, when has a smoothie ever really been nice to you? Because all it does is try and get all over your face.
I love a smoothie, man, but I can never make them as good as Jamba Juice, so I just don't make them.
All right. That was the one thing. So I think we've talked about on the show before. My family used to have a restaurant, and it was a smoothie restaurant. It was a wrap and smoothie bar. It's like we made smoothies professionally for a few years. And the one thing we heard all the time was, well, I mean, it's good, but you're not Jamba Juice.
I bet that haunts you at night.
So yeah, every night I wake up.
In the 8 o'clock, we're going to talk about J-Lo and Alex Rodriguez, and if liking and commenting on other people's social media is a form of cheating or something.
If it's cheating, if it's inappropriate.
We'll talk about that in 8 o'clock, because I have a theory of why Jennifer Lopez would be upset, and I think my theory is dead on.
Okay, I also have, because along that same token, like the thought process and the mentality behind liking somebody's picture is different when you're married versus when you're not. And I didn't think that it would be, but like I'm finding that out. Like it says more than you think it does.
Oh yeah. And we look, and women look usually, for sure.
Yeah. I had someone I was talking to the other day say, your comments, like, she goes, I read through all your comments, just to see what you're saying first. And then, see if there's anyone else where I'd be like, who's that? Yeah.
Apparently this Valerie thinks that we need her advice.
Having great difficulty. You all need my advice, but having great difficulty. What do we need your advice on, Valerie? You know what? What do we have? We have 5.
Toxic poison.
What's that?
She says cane sugar is toxic poison.
Oh.
Are you a doctor? Are you Dr. Valerie?
You know what? Dr. Valerie actually sounds like a real doctor. Dr. Val. You said you cut it down to Val, right? Dr. Val.
Okay, so we are also giving cruising tickets away on the radio. Series cruising this weekend if you want to get your family out there. It's a lot of fun, a lot of memories. I grew up going to the series cruising. This is how long ago I went to the series cruising. My cousins and I traveled there in the back of a pickup on 99. In the bed.
Ew. Yeah, you don't do that.
The Nissan pickup on 99 from Manteca to Ceres. That's how long ago I went to the Ceres drive-in.
Okay, along those same lines of riding in the back of somebody's pickup, thinking back, because we're the same age. Like, was there stuff your parents did with you? Like today, people would look at you and be like, "Oh my God, you're the worst parent ever." But back then, it was like, whatever. Like back in the pickup truck.
We had a station wagon, and more than once they would put the tailgate down and let us sit on the back. Halloween trick-or-treating, we sat on the tailgate of that, and they took us house to house in the back of
That's thinking smart, not hard. I like that. So when I was 12, I think, my parents went out of town all the time. I had the weirdest babysitters. One day we'll have to sit down and talk about all the weird babysitters I had. But one of them was one of my babysitters was the principal of my sister's school, and they had friends in Reno that we had to go visit. And so all they had was a pickup truck, and they had their nephew or they had their grandson living with them too. So they took me and their grandson and they threw us in the back of the pickup truck, and then they threw a tarp over the back of the pickup truck. So from Rockland, California, all the way up to Reno, this other 12-year-old kid and I, were in the bed of a pickup truck, laying down like this, staring at a blue tarp flapping away in the wind. And they weren't being malicious. They thought that it would be fun for us. And for about 5 minutes it was. And then I looked over at the guy. I'm like, this is really loud, really cold. He's like, yeah, but they don't have room for us up front. This is just what we do. So we were tarp passengers to and from Reno. We were literally thrown to the back of a car and had somebody put a tarp over us.
No, you don't do that now, dude. I remember sitting in the back, 3 deep in the front of the Nissan pickup, and then 6 or 8 of us in the back.
Yeah, because it's different. It's different if you're with your friends, and all of your friends when you're that age are like, "Hey, jump in the back of my pickup truck." Like we did that all the time. I had a buddy that he had to pay $600 for a haircut at the hospital because he jumped in the back of somebody's truck while we were hanging out, and he cracked his head open. Right, he had to get stitches. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But when mom and dad do it, when mom and dad are like, get back in the back of the truck. Yeah. Hold on.
Other things parents did that you can't get away with now. Leave us in the car when you go in the grocery store.
Right. Let me roll down the window. Here's a little bottle of water.
Roll down the window. Don't let anybody in. And 2, stay home while they are at work. Lock the door. Don't let anybody in the door. Yeah. Like if I am starting to let my kids stay home for like an hour or 2 by themselves if I have extra work to do. And I'm freaking out. And it was my dad who goes, hey, back in our generation, you just lock the door and don't let anybody in.
Right.
And we live in a super safe location to be able to do that. You know what I mean?
But isn't that the 24-hour news cycle that we live in? Because honestly, like we talk about leaving our kids at home alone for an hour or 2 at 10 and 11 years old. Like there's a rash of people knocking on doors, stealing people out of their homes in the middle of the day all day long. Like I know that it happens. I know it's not funny, but my neighborhood is not flush with kidnappers knocking on doors going, hey, mom and dad home? Cool, come with me, kid.
Yeah, and that's what and there's a couple of my neighbors that I know well enough that if I went and said, hey, I have to work until 4 today, can you go check on my kids? They'd be like, yeah.
Right.
Of course I do.
You do what you have to do because Madden 6 years ago was married. And so when Madden left, Madden also had a husband, right? Same with me. 3 months ago, I was married. Like now I have to augment and do things a little differently. So like for you with my neighbor, same thing. Like when I leave, if I leave the kids home, which is not often, but what I do, there's 3 texts that get fired off. Bob and Elaine, Erica, and my across the street neighbor, Steve. I've got cameras all around the house and I've got an Echo Show if I need to check in on camera, right? Like I'm super vigilant, but even that is like my parents never did that. My parents were like, gotta go to Weight Watchers, peace. And then a few hours later, they left us. They would go to Greece for 2 weeks at a time and leave us with babysitters that came out of the classified the newspaper.
No,
but here I am.
That's the one thing, we never got left with babysitters. And I'm not being like, oh, my parents are like, we just did it. I don't know if it was a money thing or like my dad worked graves and my mom worked days so that there was never a babysitter. If they went somewhere, we were all watching each other. It was us.
Don't get your babysitters from the classifieds because just off the top of my head, with all the babysitters I had, I can count off Chris, who kept dead chinchillas in our freezer. I can count off Tookie, who had her son and grandson stay with us, and her grandson just thought it positively delightful to short sheet my sister's bed every single night. And then because part of the deal to be a babysitter back then was that you also got to use the car. So Tookie would get into our, at the time we had a Bronco, by grabbing onto the steering wheel and yanking herself up. And so she ended up pulling everything off the steering wheel. And that was just Tookie. And we're not going to forget it was the Pentecostal principal, the one that threw me in the back of the car. She also, without my parents' permission, had me go to church and had me get baptized and saved, which I don't know how baptisms work, but that was like my 3rd one. Did they cancel the other ones out? Because like every time I would hang out with people that went to church, they would always be like, have you been baptized yet? Not yet. Cool. We're going to make it happen. So I've been
Right?
baptized in a Baptist church. I've been baptized in a Pentecostal church. I've been baptized in a Lutheran church, and I converted to Judaism. So I've also gone through my baked in a natural body of water. I don't know if they cancel out or not.
You've really confused God, but at least he's probably like, well, at least he's just still on my side.
Dude, God's looking at me like you're legit new number who dis.
Right? He's been ghosting all of his religions all this years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see,
I'm complicated.
an entire weekend, no cell phones.
Yeah.
Oh, she never even checked. Oh, Kelly, okay, that's turned into a sad story.
That got
And then,
rude.
yeah, and then the couple babysitters years ago that I had for my kids were terrible. So I'm like, they're better off just hanging out by themselves. And since I have a camera, I see exactly when they come in the door. I see exactly who's coming in and out. You know what I mean?
Oh, and I have a shepherd who's losing her mind right now because the wind is probably blowing. And so if anybody comes to my door, they're going to hear a dog that like if anybody even came close. My dog is old, it's dying, it's like she's rounding the bases and heading home, right?
Mm-hmm.
If anybody even looks at my kids the wrong way, she's like, "Oh no, I'm two again. Let's do this."
Yeah.
You know? So like
Yeah.
outside of all the measures I've already taken, I've got a dog who will chomp your head off in a heartbeat if you went near Sean, you know?
Hey, all of you fighting up here about health advice. You guys aren't doctors, so I'm just gonna delete your comments, and I don't like you guys getting at each other.
Oh, did you start a sugar fight?
Yeah, I started a sugar fight.
You started a sugar fight.
I did.
Hey, I want to add some fuel to the fire. I want to add some fuel to the fire.
No, I'm deleting these. And plus, Valerie, please take your caps lock off. I feel like you're yelling.
Sugar in the raw or just teaspoons of sugar is perfectly healthy.
I'm
It's not.
deleting all the comments. All right.
If you're ever feeling ill, have a tablespoon of pure sugar from the cane. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that.
We'll talk to everybody again at 8 o'clock. Bye.